Hello everyone! Today we are going to be drawing sea turtles. So let's begin. So I'm going to have my paper side to side. You could have it the other way, but this is just a good way to fill up your paper with our subject, which is the sea turtle. So we're going to start in the corner here, and you can choose any corner you want to go in. But you're going to kind of draw an oval going out. And then within that oval, we're going to kind of start about halfway in our oval. We're going to go out, come around, and go back. So this is going to be the shell. This is kind of like the rim of the shell. Next, we're going to do the head, which is going to go about right here. And it kind of goes out. And I'm going to stop here and kind of go in a little bit. And then back out, and then come back around. You can kind of like bring it around. Look, it's a sea turtle smiling at you. You can add an eye in there. Next, we're going to do the arms, and we're only going to add the arms. We're not going to add the legs because our paper is not big enough. So coming out from here, we're going to draw arms going out like a curve, and then bringing them back, and then doing that on the other side. I'm actually going to make this one a little skinnier. It's kind of too. And on our legs, we're going to add a pattern. So we're going to kind of create some zigzag kind of pattern. On both sides. On this little shell, the rim of the shell, we're going to add some lines as well. Then inside the shell, we're going to add, you could do squares, you could do circles. I'm going to try to make these like, not hexagon, I think it's a hexagon, not an octagon. It's got 6 sides. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to kind of fill the space with these hexagons. So they're kind of wobbly, like this one only has 5, it's a pentagon, it's okay. So just try to fill in your space. Like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. I say take your time. This part's kind of hard to do if you rush it. Alright, so that's all we're going to do with that. Next, I'm going to take a black crayon, or you can also do a marker if you want. And I'm going to outline my turtle. You could add some bubbles in the background. I'm going to show you a trick with watercolor. Now if you don't have watercolor, you can just color your background the way it is, just with like blue crayon or a marker. I would say crayon is going to work best for this assignment. That's why I'm outlining in it. Alright, next I'm going to do some coloring. So I'm actually going to save painting till last. So if you do want to paint, just wait to do painting till the end. So for coloring, I'm going to be using crayons. I would also say prefer to use crayon. Pick a color you want to do for your shell. So I'm going to do purple, and I'm going to use like a dark purple and a light purple, and maybe even a pink in there. What I'm going to do is on the inside, I'm going to go press really hard with my crayon, going around my shape. And then inside of that, I'm going to do a different color. And I'm going to do that for each one. So I'm going to kind of alternate. Do purple on the outside for some, do light purple on the outside. Maybe even I'll throw blue in here too. So for the next part, I'm going to just take the 4 colors I was using and color my rim of the shell. And I'm kind of pressing kind of hard because I don't want my paint to get in here later. Maybe make a pattern. I just made a pattern. Now my turtle, I'm going to take some green. Green. I'll grab that myself. There you go. Some light green. If you have different kinds of greens, you can use different kinds of greens. And I'm just going to kind of outline my inside of my turtle. Now if you don't have paints, I would say just color inside of your turtle. But I'm going to use paint to paint inside of him. And the shell part should take you a little long to do this process, to make it look kind of like a shell. So just take your time. I'm going to outline the head. Color in my eye. And then in just a moment, I'm going to be painting. I'm also going to grab a special ingredient, which I'll just show you in a minute. Alright, so to paint this, I'm going to use this, which is salt. Now, everybody should have salt at home. Now, you're only going to do this if you're going to be painting. Now, if you're not going to be painting, I would prefer not to use salt on your paper if you're not painting, because it won't make a difference. But I'm going to put my salt off to the side, and I'm going to paint my turtle first, just the turtle. So I'm using watercolor. So I got my little cup of water, grab some green. If you ever want to go out and buy some watercolor, you can buy it at like CVS or Walgreens, or even the dollar store has paints. So a lot of different places have paints. You just got to go to like the crafting section or the art section, and you will find some paints for super cheap. And watercolor is a great way because you can paint instead of just drawing everything. I love painting. Alright, so I'm coloring in or painting in my turtle. Now if you don't have paint and you can't get to paint, you are more than welcome to just color it in. And you don't have to paint. So keep that in mind, you don't have to paint. This is just an option for people who have watercolor. Alright, now that I have my turtle painted, I don't need to paint this because it's pretty much covered with the crayon. It's not going to make a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some blue, and I might get a little bit of green. I'm mixing on the side here instead of in my paints. And I'm going to paint my background. I'm going to do this kind of quick and make sure I have lots of water. And as I finish like one section like this, I'm going to grab some salt. Grab it on my hand. Just a little bit. And I'm going to put it on my paint. And if you look closely, see how it kind of makes it spotted? After it dries, you're going to shake it off and you're still going to get those spots. So instead of drawing the bubbles, we can have bubbles be made with salt. Which is kind of funny because sea turtles live in salt water. So we're actually making our own salt water. You just want to make sure you have a lot of water in that section before you put the salt down, because salt reacts with the water. Now, try not to have salt everywhere, but it's kind of fun. It doesn't harm anything. Finish up this last section. Put my brush off to the side. Grab a little bit more salt. Oh, that was a little too much. It's okay. I'm going to take the rest of the salt and I'm going to go put it in the trash because I don't want to have it all over the place. And then once it's dry, I will show you what to do. Okay, so now my turtle is dry. You can kind of tell because there's no more water pooled up. The salt is pretty much just sitting there. So I'm going to take it carefully. And I have a garbage right here. And I'm just going to shake it off. Kind of use my hand to push off the salt. Now, if it is wet, just be careful because you could rip a hole in it. So when you look at it now, you can see that the salt kind of makes those little bubbles. And then you're done.